I was 7 when the woman at the bus stop called my name. I remember it clearly because of how gray the light looked that afternoon, like the color had drained out of the world while I was inside. Her name was Mel. I don't think that was her real name. That's just what my mom used to call her when she dropped off rent in the unit below ours. Mel lived in the basement apartment, the one with the windows so low you could see only ankles through them. She used to babysit me sometimes, mostly when my mom worked overnight. She always had this sour candy smell on her clothes, and she'd hum along to songs that weren't playing. Sometimes I'd wake up to her just sitting at the end of my bed, just sitting there, staring at the wall. I didn't tell my mom about that. I think I was afraid if I said it out loud, it'd become more real. After a while, Mel stopped coming around. Mom said something about police and not our business. Then that day at the bus stop, there she was, standing like she'd always been there, like I was late. She waved me over with a gloved hand, said my mom had sent her, that there was a car nearby. She even smiled, that same sideways smile that made her lips look like a crack in plaster. I didn't run. I didn't question it. I followed her. The place she took me wasn't the basement I remembered. This one was deeper, the kind of deep where the air feels like it's forgotten the sun. No lights were on. The only glow came from the static of an old TV, turned all the way down. She told me to sit, said she'd make me something to eat. I sat. I waited. I could hear her moving around behind me, but I didn't hear any pans. Just whispering. I thought maybe she had someone else there. When I asked, she didn't answer. Just the whispering, and a wet, dragging sound, like someone was pulling a bag across the floor. I looked at the walls. They were covered in paper, children's drawings maybe, crayons pressed down so hard the paper had torn in places. Every drawing had a red door. Every red door had a black figure behind it. At some point, the whispering stopped. Then came the knock, sharp, heavy. I froze. A voice called my name, my mother's voice. I ran to the door, but there wasn't one, just more paper taped to the wall. It peeled at the corners as I touched it, and I saw dark behind it. Wood. A door. Painted red, with something black standing just behind the glass. I turned to tell Mel, but the apartment was empty. No static. No couch. Just walls and paper. My hands started to shake. I called out. I screamed. No one came. But from behind the red door, I heard my mom's voice again, asking me to let her in. I never told anyone that the voice on the other side knew my name before I said it.
They said the apartment had charm, which meant it had breath. Old buildings always do. The ceilings groaned in winter. Pipes ticked. The windows rattled on nights without wind. I was 23, watching my neighbor's son while she worked nights at the hospital. She lived 2 floors up in the same building. Said she liked keeping things close. His name was Eddie. 7 years old, quiet, fascinated by insects. He would lie on the living room carpet and make drawings of centipedes with too many legs. The first Friday she left me with him, he showed me something strange. He pointed to the corner of the ceiling above the TV, right where the 2 walls met the plaster molding. He whispered, "That's where the man watches me from." I didn't laugh. I was too tired. I told him that shadows play tricks. That light bends funny in old buildings. He nodded like he'd heard it before. Then he asked if he could sleep in my apartment instead. I let him. It felt easier. He curled up in a nest of blankets on my couch. Fell asleep fast. I made tea. Turned on the lamp by the bookshelf. Read. It was just past midnight when I noticed the buzzing. Not electrical. Not faulty wiring. Low. Rhythmic. Kind of vibrating breath. It was coming from my kitchen. I stepped in slowly. Everything was still. Until the bulb in the ceiling flickered. Just once. And in that moment, I saw it. The corner above the fridge. A patch of shadow that didn't move with the light. It looked like a man crouched up in the angle where the wall met the ceiling. Arms locked around his legs. Head tilted. Watching me. I didn't move. I didn't blink. The bulb flared bright, then went dead. When I turned on my phone flashlight, the corner was empty. Back in the living room, Sam was still asleep, but he'd moved. Now he was facing the wall, both hands pressed flat against it. I said his name softly. No answer. When I touched his shoulder, he spoke. Not a scream, not a whisper. He told me he likes your apartment better. And then the buzzing started again, from inside the wall.
They told me the house would settle. Old beams shift. Don't be startled. That's what her voice message said, the mother. Her voice, thin and distant, like someone warning me of something she didn't dare say outright. She left it right after they boarded the plane. I arrived just before dusk. The boys met me at the top of the stairs, one hiding behind the other. I said my name softly, told them it was okay to be shy. Their eyes didn't blink in sync. Still, they led me through the house like little hosts rehearsing a tour. Kitchen, pantry, nightlight in the hallway that flickers sometimes, but it's fine. They pointed out their favorite hiding spot under the stairs, then looked at each other like they hadn't meant to. We had pasta. The older one didn't eat much. The little one kept asking when their parents would call. I told him maybe before bed. He nodded like that wasn't the answer he wanted. Later, after a movie, after brushing teeth, after negotiating which nightlight stayed on, they were tucked in. I left their door cracked. Not for them, for me. Downstairs, I sank into the couch. The kind that feels like it remembers other people sitting. No TV, no music. Just the hum of the fridge and the hollow stretch of the house settling into itself. I sat in the quiet long enough for it to feel deliberate. Then I heard it. A tap. Just one. Faint. Glassy. I looked toward the patio doors. Saw only my reflection, muted and soft in the dark. I stayed still. Came again. Louder this time. 3 taps. Then something like breath fogging up the glass. I rose, not all at once. The sliding door showed no one, but I could feel it. Pressure. As if the glass was the only thing holding back a shift in the air. And then the sound, not shattering. Folding. Like the room was being bent inward. I ran. I don't remember grabbing them. Only that I was in the master bedroom, heart ricocheting. Both boys pressed into me like they knew this part of the story already. I dialed the emergency contact list, but the phone app crashed. The landline worked. A woman answered. Flat tone. Said her name was Clara. I didn't remember that being the name on the sheet. She asked me who was in the house with me. I told her I was babysitting. She asked again, then silence, then don't open any mirrors. I didn't know what to say. Then the sound came. 3 knocks. Not on the door, not even on the wall, inside the mirror across the room. I turned it to face the corner, but it was still reflecting me. The knocks again, louder. I held both boys tighter, but the little one whispered, "That's not us." I blinked. The mirror was showing all 3 of us, still, frozen, but I could hear my own breath. I moved to cover the mirror, but in the reflection, I didn't. And then, faint but sharp, 3 soft taps. Not in the room, not at the door. From behind the glass.
Like, shit.